What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. Israel Adesanya has shared his thoughts on who should be next in line to challenge Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight title, and he believes it should be Carlos Ulberg. Despite Jiri Prochazka's big knockout win over Khalil Roundtree at UFC 320, Izzy made it clear that Ulberg deserves the shot more. Ulberg has been on an impressive run, with his most recent victory coming by knockout against Dominic Reyes at UFC Perth. That performance turned a lot of heads, and according to Adesanya, it put him right at the top of the contender list. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Izzy said, "I still think Carlos should get the next shot because good fight, crazy fight. But if it's BA again, they're probably going to give it to Carlos as they should. I think Carlos versus Alex. I like that. That should be next." Adesanya's support carries weight, especially since Ulberg is one of his close teammates. He's seen firsthand how much work Ulberg has put into his game and how much he's improved over the past few years. With Pereira's dominance and Ulberg's rise, the matchup would be a massive stylistic clash, one that could headline a major pay-per-view event. While Jiri's win was spectacular, Adesanya believes the timing and momentum favor Ulberg. He's healthy, ready, and coming off a huge finish, which makes him the perfect next challenger. If the UFC decides to book Pereira versus Ulberg, it would not only be a title fight, but also a battle between two of the most dangerous strikers in the division. For Adesanya, that's the fight that makes the most sense right now. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, Rafael Fiziev has been pushing through a tough knee injury that forced him to withdraw from his scheduled fight with Charles Oliveira at UFC Rio. This was supposed to be a major matchup, but unfortunately, the injury set him back at the wrong time. Recently, Fiziev reposted a clip showing his ongoing recovery process, where he was seen undergoing shockwave therapy to help heal the damaged knee. The injury happened after a go-karting incident, which left him in a lot of discomfort. In the video, you can see him lying on the table as the therapist applies the treatment directly to the injured area. Even though it looks painful, Fiziev stays composed, clearly determined to push through the rehab and get back to full strength. The sound of the machine hitting the knee gives you an idea of how intense that therapy can be. According to those around him, this wasn't just a minor crash. He was going fast, lost control, and then got T-boned hard during the go-karting run. That impact led to the knee injury, which ultimately forced him out of the Oliveira fight. While the situation was obviously frustrating, Fiziev seemed to be keeping a light attitude in the video, smiling and joking around despite the pain. Someone off camera can even be heard talking about how bad the crash was and how surprising it is to see him laughing through it. They mention grabbing their neck after the incident and feeling the impact themselves. Fiziev, on the other hand, seems focused on healing, staying in good spirits as he moves forward with his rehab. It's clear he's motivated to recover fast and make his way back into the octagon as soon as possible. Moving on to another news, Renato Moicano and Gilbert Burns have stirred up a heated debate in the MMA world by saying they believe Merab's resume is actually better than Khabib's. Burns didn't hold back, making a bold statement that caught everyone's attention. Speaking passionately, Burns said, "Merab's resume is better than Khabib's. You can hate me all you want, but resume-wise, it's better. Pound for pound, prove me wrong." He doubled down, saying Merab's body of work speaks for itself. The way he's been dominating opponents and the names he's beaten, in his view, stack up stronger than what Khabib accomplished during his undefeated run. Moicano backed him up, agreeing with the statement and pointing out that Merab has consistently fought and beaten top-ranked competition in one of the most stacked divisions in the UFC. He emphasized how Merab's relentless pace, wrestling pressure, and win streak make a strong case for him to be considered among the very best. Burns went on to say that you could even make the argument right now that Merab is the best fighter in the entire UFC. His style isn't built around flash or trash talk. It's built on breaking his opponents and imposing a relentless pace that few can match. That, Burns said, is what makes Merab so special. While Khabib retired undefeated with a legendary legacy, this comparison has sparked conversations online about strength of schedule, level of competition, and overall accomplishments inside the octagon. For Burns and Moicano, Merab's resume isn't just good, it's elite. And in their opinion, it might just be better than the record of one of the sport's greatest champions. Moving on to another news, Garry is making bold claims ahead of his upcoming fight against Belal Muhammad at UFC Qatar. The undefeated welterweight contender isn't just confident, he's absolutely certain of how the fight will end. In a recent appearance, Garry stated clearly that this matchup is not going to the judges. He guaranteed that he will finish Belal inside the distance. With a calm but fiery tone, Garry said, "I'm just going to say it, this fight is not going to a decision." He didn't hesitate, didn't doubt himself for even a second. His energy carried the weight of someone who knows exactly what he wants to do once the cage door closes. Belal is known for his durability and his ability to grind out tough fights. But Garry made it clear that none of that will matter on fight night. When someone suggested the fight might go all 5 rounds, Garry instantly shut it down, saying, "No, not in a million years." The young star is determined to make a statement on one of the biggest stages of his career so far. For him, it's not just about winning, it's about proving that he belongs at the very top of the welterweight division. With his confidence sky high, Garry is walking into UFC Qatar with one mission: to finish Belal Muhammad and leave no doubt about who the future of the division is. Moving on to another news, Ray Longo, the longtime coach of Merab, opened up about what truly makes his fighter so special inside the octagon. According to Longo, it's not just about the skills or techniques. It's about the intangibles, the kind of qualities you can't train or teach. He highlighted Merab's relentless mindset, his unwavering confidence, and his insane work ethic as the foundation of his success. Longo explained that Merab is the type of fighter who simply loves what he's doing. It's not forced. It's not fake. He thrives in the grind, and that's what separates him from the rest. Longo compared it to that Mike Tyson factor, that aura fighters carry where their opponents already know they're stepping into something different. He recalled how some corners try to remind their fighters that Merab is human and that he'll get tired like everyone else. But Longo pointed out the reality: yes, Merab may get tired eventually, but breaking him is a different story. The real challenge isn't whether he'll slow down, it's whether anyone can outlast him when the pressure never stops. He talked about Merab's comfort level inside the cage, how the more the fight goes on, the stronger and more confident he becomes. He said it's like watching a storm build momentum. The longer you're in there with him, the worse it gets. Longo noted how Merab's stand-up has also evolved. In his last fight, he opened up more than ever before, showing a new level of confidence in his striking. He was attacking smartly, picking the right moments and taking calculated risks. Longo described how, from the outside, Merab may look like a fighter with gaps in his game. But once you're in there, everything changes. The pressure is different. The pace is suffocating. If an opponent starts to fade, Merab just keeps pushing harder. He doesn't let up. He's too comfortable, too locked in. He ended by saying that this is what makes Merab so dangerous: his ability to stay composed, to thrive in chaos, and to enjoy every second of the fight. It's not just about skill, it's about mentality. And when you're in there with someone like that, it's the worst feeling in the world because he just keeps coming forward. Moving on to another news, Kamaru Usman has made it clear that he wants to see a trilogy between Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. Their first 2 fights were filled with drama, intensity, and high stakes, and Usman believes the story isn't complete yet. He explained why a third showdown between these two would be massive for the division and for the sport as a whole. Usman said he would absolutely love to see the trilogy because both fighters didn't deliver their best performances in their previous bouts. He pointed out that Pereira had issues behind closed doors going into the rematch, and Ankalaev also wasn't at his best due to circumstances the public didn't fully know about at the time. He emphasized that when everything is on the line, there are no excuses. "This is for all the marbles," he said. "You have to govern yourself. I don't care what you're coming into this trilogy fight with. This is it. You have to govern yourself." He made it clear that fans only hear about these issues after the fight, never when a fighter wins. When Pereira lost the belt, people started hearing what had gone wrong for him. Now that Ankalaev has lost, more stories are coming out. For Usman, the third fight would settle everything once and for all. He stressed how important it is for both fighters to do everything possible to arrive at that fight in top condition because there will be no excuses in a trilogy bout of that magnitude. Usman also looked at the timeline for a potential booking. With the White House card scheduled for June, there's a solid 8 months of build-up available. That gives both Pereira and Ankalaev enough time to recover, train, and prepare for one of the biggest fights in the light heavyweight division. But he also questioned whether Pereira would want to sit out that long just to wait for the card. That, he said, is one of the unknown factors. Speaking about Ankalaev, Usman praised his skill set, calling him one of the most well-rounded fighters in the division, if not the most well-rounded. He said Ankalaev is extremely talented, composed, and dangerous everywhere the fight goes. For Usman, this is exactly why a trilogy between him and Pereira makes so much sense. It's not just a big fight, it's the fight that can define an era at light heavyweight. And if for some reason the trilogy doesn't happen, Usman also mentioned that Ankalaev versus Garry would be an incredible alternative. But make no mistake, Usman's priority remains seeing Pereira and Ankalaev meet for the third time, with no excuses, no distractions, and everything on the line. Moving on to another news, Arman made it very clear that he doesn't believe Paddy Pimblett can beat Ilia if the two ever meet inside the octagon. The lightweight contender, who's currently preparing to face Dan Hooker at UFC Qatar, gave his honest thoughts during a recent appearance on the Ariel Helwani show. When asked directly whether he thinks Paddy has any chance against Ilia, Arman didn't hesitate. He said, no way. Arman believes there's only one person in the division who can truly beat Ilia right now. himself. He stated with full confidence, "Just me can beat Ilia. That's all for now in our division." According to him, even the UFC knows it. He thinks the promotion is well aware of the danger he presents to Ilia, which is why they've been hesitant to book that matchup just yet. The conversation turned to the possibility of the UFC protecting certain fighters to build their star power. Arman suggested that the organization might be trying to keep them apart for now, letting Ilia's momentum grow. But he made it clear that if he goes out and delivers a statement performance against Hooker, the UFC won't be able to ignore him any longer. "If I go and perform very well and finish Hooker, they cannot avoid me anymore," he said. His goal isn't just to win, he wants to do it in spectacular fashion, leaving no doubt that he's next in line. He knows that a dominant win will make him undeniable in the title picture and put even more pressure on the UFC to make the fight with Ilia happen. Arman was also asked if he feels he needs a big finish to get the attention he deserves. He responded confidently, I have to show that I want to fight for the title, and I deserve to be there." For him, this isn't just another fight. It's the moment to make a statement. He sees himself as the only real stylistic threat to Ilia, pointing out that his wrestling pressure and overall skill set are different from anyone else in the division. Arman respects Ilia's abilities but doesn't see Paddy as a serious challenge to the reigning champion. To him, that matchup would only end one way, with Ilia winning. Arman's fight against Hooker is now more than just another contender matchup. It's his chance to prove he's the rightful #1 contender, the only man who can dethrone Ilia, and the one fighter the UFC can't keep out of the title picture any longer. Moving on to another news, TJ Dillashaw revealed some shocking details about what Patchy Mix went through before stepping into the octagon at UFC 320. Last weekend, Patchy Mix came up short once again, losing a close split decision to Ilia. This defeat dropped his UFC record to 0-2, and now, new information is shedding light on what really happened during his fight week. On the Jackson podcast, TJ Dillashaw explained that Mix had been dealing with multiple problems leading up to the bout, including a rough weight cut and a staph infection. Dillashaw said he was there for fight week and saw firsthand how brutal the weight cut was. According to him, Mix gets pretty big between fights and has to cut a lot of weight to make the limit. He suggested that the intense weight cuts and his training methods might actually be breaking his body down. He described what happened on weigh-in day. Fighters do the official weigh-ins in the morning, then return later for the ceremonial weigh-ins in the afternoon. By that point, most fighters are rehydrated and feeling good. But Dillashaw noticed something wasn't right with Mix. While everyone else was getting ready to walk on stage, Mix was lying on the ground, looking exhausted and completely drained. He didn't look like someone who had already finished cutting weight. Dillashaw went on to explain that when he went to the bathroom, Mix ran past him, saying he had been throwing up since the official weigh-ins. He couldn't keep anything down, felt sick, and was clearly struggling. Dillashaw added that nerves might have played a small part, but the bigger issue was his body shutting down from the extreme weight cut, and that wasn't even all. Mix also revealed to him that he'd been dealing with a staph infection for 2 weeks and had been on antibiotics the entire time. That kind of medication can seriously affect a fighter's conditioning, and it showed on fight night. Dillashaw said when you're on antibiotics, your cardio will take a major hit, and that's exactly what happened. It was a close, competitive fight that could have gone either way, but Mix visibly slowed down as the rounds went on. In the end, the combination of a brutal weight cut, illness, and poor timing couldn't be ignored. Dillashaw's insight painted a clearer picture of why Mix looked the way he did inside the cage, and why he fell short on the scorecards. Moving on to another news, Frankie Edgar may not have fought at BKFC 82 last weekend, but he's still walking away with a solid paycheck. The veteran fighter was scheduled to face Jimmy Rivera in what was expected to be one of the card's biggest attractions. But just days before the fight, the organization's medical team stepped in and pulled him from the event due to health concerns. Frankie, now 43 years old, has taken some serious damage in his last few outings. He was finished in his final 3 fights in the UFC, and that history raised some red flags for BKFC officials. BKFC President David Feldman spoke about the situation in an interview with MMAfighting.com. He explained that although Frankie was upset about being pulled, he will still be paid in full for the event. Feldman said, "Honestly, I don't even know if he wants to fight with us again. I think he's a little upset with us, as maybe he should be. But at the end of the day, we were looking out for his best interest. He is getting a very, very respectable check. I don't think he's mad at us for that. I think he's mad at us because we took away an opportunity from him." He made it clear that sometimes, as a promotion, you have to make difficult calls to protect fighters. Feldman added, "Sometimes you have to save fighters from themselves. I'm not saying we saved Frankie from himself, but I'm saying for that night, our medical team wasn't prepared for that, and that's why we made that decision." When asked whether they'd revisit the fight in the future, Feldman said they'd definitely talk to him if he's still interested and see what's possible. He also brought up a major factor influencing their decision: the growing concerns around CTE and brain damage in combat sports. There's a lot of talk about commissions and promoters being held accountable, and BKFC wanted to be cautious. When we do anything, we're going to weigh the risk and reward. What's the risk? What's the reward? The reward on this one didn't outweigh the risks, and that's why we did that, Feldman explained. He also praised Frankie for how professional he was throughout the entire build-up. He promoted the fight, showed up to every media appearance, did every interview, and even hosted a watch party at his family's bar. Feldman said that Frankie went above and beyond to help push the event, and for that, the organization made sure he got taken care of financially. What really stood out to Feldman was the reaction from the fans when the fight was officially canceled. When they posted it was canceled, 99% of fans said thank you. Thank you for looking out for the fighters. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Instead of saying, you screwed over Frankie Edgar, it didn't go that way, Feldman said. That overwhelming support made him feel confident that the organization made the right call. In the end, Frankie didn't get to fight, but he did get paid. More importantly, the promotion prioritized his health and safety over short-term hype.